A white woman stands by the pool yelling at a young black girl to leave. "You don't belong here," she says angrily. Kayla, the girl, stays calm and replies, "I live here. My dad said I can swim." The woman doesn't believe her and starts shouting louder. People around the pool stop to watch, some recording with their phones. Kayla stays seated, quietly saying, "My dad is coming soon." The woman threatens, "Leave now or I'll call security." She has no idea who Kayla's father is or what will happen when he shows up. What happens next shocks everyone by the pool and leaves them talking for days. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this one. Kayla, a confident and bright 12-year-old black girl, lived in an upscale suburban neighborhood. Her father, Mr. Jordan, a successful attorney, always taught her to stand up for herself and never let anyone dim her light. On this warm summer afternoon, Kayla decided to head to the neighborhood pool to enjoy the day. The pool was bustling with activity. Children splashed in the water, and parents relaxed on lounge chairs, chatting and enjoying the sun. Kayla, dressed in a simple blue swimsuit, walked in with her pool bag and picked a quiet corner to set up. As Kayla dipped her feet into the cool water, a white woman, dressed in a wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses, noticed her from across the pool. The woman, later identified as Ms. Claire, was known for her controlling and entitled behavior. She whispered to the people around her, pointing at Kayla, her tone filled with suspicion. Within moments, Ms. Claire approached Kayla. Her voice was sharp as she said, "Excuse me, little girl. This pool is for residents only. You can't just walk in here." Kayla, startled but not intimidated, looked up at her and calmly replied, "I am a resident. I live here with my dad." Ms. Claire's eyes narrowed. "I don't believe you. Show me proof or leave. We can't just let anyone in here," she said loudly, drawing attention from other pool-goers. Kayla, keeping her composure, responded, "My dad will be here soon. You can ask him." The tension in the air grew. Onlookers started to murmur, some uneasy with Ms. Claire's tone but unsure if they should intervene. Kayla stayed seated by the pool, refusing to be bullied, just as her father had taught her. Unaware of the storm brewing, Mr. Jordan was on his way back from a quick errand. He had promised Kayla he would join her at the pool, and as he approached, he noticed the unusual commotion. His instincts told him something was wrong. The stage was set for a moment that would not only challenge Ms. Claire's assumptions, but also leave a lasting impression on everyone present. Kayla remained seated by the pool, her feet dipping into the water as Ms. Claire stood over her with an air of authority. "I've had enough of your attitude, young lady," Ms. Claire snapped. "If you don't leave, I'll call security right now." Kayla, calm yet firm, replied, "You can do what you want, but I'm not going anywhere. My dad will be here soon, and he'll clear this up." True to her threat, Ms. Claire stormed off to find the pool's security officer. Minutes later, she returned with a uniformed man, Mr. Allen, who worked as the neighborhood pool's security guard. He looked confused as Ms. Claire pointed at Kayla and declared, "That girl is trespassing. She doesn't live here, and she's refusing to leave." Mr. Allen approached Kayla cautiously. "Miss, can you tell me where you live or who you're here with?" he asked politely, trying not to escalate the situation. Kayla, maintaining her composure, responded, "I live right here in this neighborhood. My dad and I moved in last year. He's on his way here now." Before Mr. Allen could respond, Ms. Claire interrupted. "She's lying. I've lived here for years and I've never seen her before. People like her don't belong here." The phrase "people like her" sent a chill through the air. Onlookers, now fully tuned into the confrontation, exchanged concerned glances. Some whispered among themselves, questioning Ms. Claire's intentions, while others remained silent, watching the scene unfold. Mr. Allen looked uneasy but decided to wait for Kayla's father to arrive. "We'll clear this up when your dad gets here," he said, stepping back. Minutes later, Mr. Jordan entered the pool area. His tall, confident figure and tailored suit immediately caught everyone's attention. He scanned the scene, his sharp eyes narrowing as he spotted his daughter surrounded by tension. "Dad!" Kayla called out, her voice steady but tinged with relief. Ms. Clare turned to see who had arrived and froze as Mr. Jordan approached. His calm yet authoritative demeanor exuded strength. "What's going on here?" he asked, addressing both Ms. Clare and the security guard. Ms. Clare, emboldened by her earlier claims, replied, "Your daughter is trespassing. She doesn't belong here, and I asked her to leave, but she refused. We have rules, you know." Mr. Jordan raised an eyebrow, his voice unwavering. "Trespassing? My daughter and I live here. In fact, we own the house 2 streets down. I would like to know why she's being singled out." Ms. Clare's confidence faltered, but she pushed back. "Well, I've never seen you before. How do I know you're telling the truth?" Mr. Jordan reached into his pocket and produced a neighborhood ID card, clearly showing his address and membership for the pool. He handed it to the security officer, who quickly verified its authenticity. "Everything checks out," Mr. Allen said, handing back the card. "I apologize, sir, and to you, Miss Kayla, for the misunderstanding." The crowd began murmuring louder, some clearly appalled at Ms. Clare's behavior. One woman whispered, "Why did she assume the worst about them?" Another man nodded in agreement, saying, "This is embarrassing." Turning to Ms. Clare, Mr. Jordan's voice grew firmer. "My daughter came here to enjoy her day just like everyone else. Instead, she was harassed and humiliated. Your assumptions say more about you than they do about her." Ms. Clare stammered, trying to find an excuse, but the weight of the moment silenced her. Kayla stood up and walked over to her dad, holding his hand. "Thanks for coming, Dad," she said quietly. He looked down at her with a proud smile. "You did great, Kayla. You didn't let anyone push you around, and I'm proud of you for that." The pool area, once filled with tension, now buzzed with quiet conversations as people reflected on what had just happened. Some approached Mr. Jordan and Kayla to apologize for not stepping in earlier, while others shot disapproving looks at Ms. Clare. Ms. Clare, realizing she had lost the crowd's support, grabbed her belongings and left without another word. The confrontation was over, but its impact lingered, leaving everyone present to think about the power of standing up for what is right. Kayla and her father stood by the pool, the earlier tension still lingering in the air. Onlookers whispered amongst themselves, their gazes shifting between Mr. Jordan and Ms. Clare. It was clear to everyone that things had taken a serious turn, and the truth behind the confrontation was about to unfold. Ms. Clare, her face flushed with embarrassment, attempted to recover her composure. "I was only trying to uphold the rules," she said defensively. "I didn't mean any harm." Mr. Jordan, maintaining his calm demeanor, stepped forward. "If you truly meant no harm, you wouldn't have assumed my daughter didn't belong here," he said, his voice steady but firm. "You jumped to conclusions based on how she looks, not on any actual evidence." The crowd murmured in agreement. One woman, visibly upset, spoke up. "She didn't do anything wrong. You just made her feel unwelcome for no reason." Ms. Clare opened her mouth to respond, but Mr. Allen, the security officer, interjected. "Mr. Jordan is right. I should have handled this differently too. I apologize to you both for not addressing the situation more fairly." Kayla, who had remained composed throughout the ordeal, finally spoke up. "I came here to swim and enjoy my day," she said, her voice clear and confident. "Instead, I had to prove I belonged just because someone didn't think I fit in. That's not fair." Her words struck a chord with the crowd. Several people nodded in agreement, their expressions reflecting a mix of guilt and support. One man in the back muttered, "She's got more courage than most adults here." Ms. Clare, now visibly uncomfortable, tried to justify her actions once more. "I didn't mean it like that," she stammered. "I just didn't recognize her." "But you didn't ask," Mr. Jordan countered, his tone sharpening. "Instead, you made assumptions and tried to remove her. This isn't just about my daughter. It's about how we treat people in our community." The tension shifted and the focus turned to the larger issue at hand. Members of the crowd began to question their own biases and the role they played in the confrontation. One by one, people started to speak up. "I've seen things like this happen before, and I didn't say anything," one woman admitted, her voice filled with regret. "Maybe it's time we all start standing up for what's right." Another man added, "It's not just about rules, it's about treating each other with respect and fairness." As the atmosphere transformed from one of division to reflection, Mr. Jordan seized the moment. "We all have a responsibility to do better," he said, addressing the crowd. "It starts with how we treat each other, no matter where we come from or what we look like. My daughter shouldn't have had to go through this today. And neither should anyone else." Kayla, standing proudly by her father's side, added, "I'm not angry, but I hope this makes people think before they act. It's not easy to stand up for yourself, but it's always worth it." The crowd responded with applause, their initial hesitance replaced by a shared sense of unity. Even Ms. Claire, though reluctant, seemed to acknowledge her mistake. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, her words barely audible over the noise. "I shouldn't have assumed." Mr. Jordan nodded, accepting her apology, but making it clear that change was needed. "We appreciate your apology," he said, "but words mean little without actions. Let's make sure this doesn't happen again." As the conversation wound down, the pool area returned to its usual hum of activity, but the events of the day left a lasting impression on everyone present. Conversations about inclusion and respect carried on well after the confrontation, sparking a ripple effect throughout the community. Kayla and her father stayed by the pool for a little longer, enjoying the moment they had fought to reclaim. As they left, several people approached them, offering kind words and expressing their support. "You handled that with so much grace," one woman said to Kayla. "You're an inspiration." "Thank you," Kayla replied, her smile bright and genuine. "I just hope it makes a difference." As they walked away, hand in hand, Mr. Jordan looked down at his daughter with pride. "You were amazing today," he said. "You stood your ground and showed everyone what it means to be strong." Kayla's eyes sparkled with determination. "I learned it from you, Dad." The turning point was more than just the resolution of a conflict. It was a moment of growth, reflection, and hope for a better future, one where everyone could feel like they truly belonged. The crowd watched intently as Kayla and her father, Mr. Jordan, stood their ground by the pool. The tension was palpable, but there was a sense that something transformative was about to happen. Ms. Claire, the woman who had accused Kayla of trespassing, still seemed hesitant to fully accept responsibility for her actions, but the situation was far from over. Suddenly, a man in a tailored suit approached the group, walking with calm authority. His demeanor immediately caught everyone's attention. It was Mr. Stevens, the manager of the pool facility. He had been informed of the situation by a concerned lifeguard and had arrived to assess the incident personally. "What's going on here?" Mr. Stevens asked, his voice calm but firm. His gaze shifted between Ms. Claire, Mr. Jordan, and Kayla. Ms. Claire, flustered by his arrival, quickly tried to explain. "I was just following the rules. I didn't recognize her, and I thought she didn't belong here." Mr. Stevens turned to Kayla and her father, his expression softening. "Is this true? Were you treated unfairly?" Mr. Jordan nodded. "Yes, my daughter was accused without any evidence. She was humiliated in front of everyone here, all because of an assumption," Kayla added. "I just wanted to swim. I wasn't bothering anyone, but she made me feel like I didn't belong." Mr. Stevens listened carefully, his expression growing more serious with every word. "I am deeply sorry for what happened to you, Kayla," he said, his tone sincere. "This pool is meant to be a welcoming space for everyone, and what you experienced is unacceptable." The crowd murmured in agreement, and a few people began to applaud Mr. Stevens's words. However, he wasn't finished. Turning to Ms. Claire, he said, "Your actions do not reflect the values we uphold here. We do not tolerate discrimination or assumptions based on appearance. I'm going to need you to step away and allow this family to enjoy their day." Ms. Claire, now visibly uncomfortable, tried to argue. "I didn't mean it like that. I was just doing what I thought was right." "What you thought was right caused unnecessary harm," Mr. Stevens replied firmly. "It's important to take responsibility for your actions and learn from them." As Ms. Claire reluctantly stepped back, Mr. Stevens addressed the rest of the crowd. "This is a reminder for all of us. We must treat each other with respect and dignity, regardless of who we are or where we come from." The atmosphere shifted as people began to reflect on the events they had witnessed. The murmurs grew louder, and a few individuals voiced their support for Kayla and her father. You handled this so well, one woman said to Mr. Jordan. Thank you for standing up and setting an example. Another man added, we need more people like you to call out these situations. It's the only way things will change. Kayla, still holding her father's hand, looked up at him with pride. Dad, we made a difference today, she said, her voice filled with hope. You did, Kayla, Mr. Jordan replied, smiling. Your courage is what made this possible. Just as things seemed to settle, another twist emerged. A young woman from the crowd stepped forward, her voice shaky but determined. I've seen this kind of behavior before, she said. It happened to my little brother at another pool. No one spoke up then, but today, seeing you both stand your ground, it's inspired me to do the same. Her words struck a chord with the audience, sparking a wave of applause. More people began sharing their stories, creating a powerful moment of connection and unity. The incident had started as a confrontation, but was now evolving into a catalyst for change. Mr. Stevens, visibly moved by the crowd's response, made an announcement. Starting today, we will implement new training for all staff and members to ensure this doesn't happen again. Discrimination has no place here or anywhere. The crowd cheered, and Kayla felt a sense of accomplishment she had never experienced before. She had not only stood up for herself, but had also sparked a conversation that would make a lasting impact. As the day went on, Kayla and her father finally got to enjoy their time at the pool. People approached them with kind words and gestures of support, turning what began as a painful experience into a day of triumph. In that moment, Kayla realized the power of resilience and the importance of standing up for what is right. She looked at her father, her role model, and felt a newfound sense of strength. You were amazing today, Mr. Jordan said, his voice filled with pride. So were you, Dad, Kayla replied, her smile radiant. We did this together. The unexpected turn had not only changed the course of their day, but had also left an indelible mark on everyone who witnessed it. Kayla and her father's courage reminded everyone present of the importance of fairness, respect, and standing up against injustice. The story of Kayla and her father spread like wildfire. What had begun as a painful confrontation at the pool turned into a larger conversation about discrimination, equality, and community accountability. People across the neighborhood and beyond were talking about the incident. Social media played a major role in amplifying their story, and within hours it had reached far beyond their local community. Videos captured by onlookers showed Kayla standing confidently beside her father as they calmly but firmly addressed the injustice they had faced. The clips highlighted their grace under pressure and the lessons they imparted during the encounter. These videos were shared widely, garnering thousands of views, likes, and comments. One comment read, "This father-daughter duo is everything. They handled this so well." Another said, "I wish I had this kind of courage to stand up for what's right." However, not everyone was supportive. Some people defended Ms. Claire's actions, arguing she was only trying to enforce rules, but these voices were quickly overshadowed by the overwhelming support for Kayla and her father. The backlash against Ms. Claire intensified, especially when more stories of her behavior began to surface. A woman who worked at a local grocery store commented on one of the videos, "I've seen her do this kind of thing before. She once accused a black cashier of stealing money from the register when there was no proof." The wave of criticism led many to question the culture of the pool and the role of its management. Local activists organized a peaceful protest outside the pool facility, demanding changes to ensure such incidents would never happen again. Signs reading, "Equal access for all" and "End discrimination now" filled the air as people of all ages and backgrounds came together in solidarity. The protest caught the attention of local news outlets, who reached out to Kayla's father for an interview. Sitting beside his daughter, Mr. Jordan spoke with a calm yet firm voice. "This isn't just about what happened to us," he said. "It's about making sure no one else has to go through the same experience. We all have a right to feel safe and respected, no matter where we are or who we are." Kayla also spoke during the interview, her voice steady and mature beyond her years. "I just wanted to swim and have fun," she said, "but instead, I felt like I didn't belong. No one should ever feel that way, especially not because of the color of their skin. Their words resonated deeply, sparking further discussions in schools, workplaces, and homes. Many parents used the incident as a teaching moment for their children, emphasizing the importance of kindness, understanding, and standing up against injustice. Meanwhile, Ms. Claire faced significant consequences. She was asked to step down from her position on the pool committee, and many of her acquaintances distanced themselves from her. Feeling the pressure, she issued a public apology, saying, "I deeply regret my actions. I realize now that I made assumptions that were hurtful and wrong. I am committed to learning and doing better." Despite her apology, many felt it wasn't enough. The community demanded systemic changes to prevent such incidents from happening again. The pool management announced mandatory diversity and inclusion training for all staff and members. They also set up a hotline for reporting discriminatory behavior and created a task force to review policies and practices. Mr. Stevens, the pool manager, worked closely with local advocacy groups to implement these changes. He also publicly thanked Kayla and her father for bringing the issue to light. "Their courage has inspired us to take a hard look at ourselves and make meaningful improvements," he said. The story continued to gain traction, eventually catching the attention of national media. Kayla and her father were invited to share their experience on a popular morning talk show. Sitting on the studio couch, they once again emphasized the importance of fairness, respect, and accountability. "It's not about shaming anyone," Mr. Jordan explained. "It's about creating a world where everyone is treated with dignity. That starts with acknowledging when things go wrong and working together to fix them." The host asked Kayla how she felt about all the attention. "I didn't expect any of this," she said, smiling shyly. "I just wanted to do the right thing. If sharing my story helps other kids feel braver, then I'm happy." The impact of their story extended far beyond their community. Donations poured in from people inspired by their resilience, and Kayla's family decided to use the funds to start a scholarship program for underprivileged kids. The program aimed to provide access to swimming lessons, sports activities, and other opportunities that foster inclusivity and confidence. The incident also prompted a broader conversation about racial bias and privilege. Social media was filled with posts and discussions about how to recognize and address these issues. Many people shared their own stories of discrimination, creating a wave of solidarity and understanding. One post read, "Kayla's story reminded me of when I was told I didn't belong at my local gym. I didn't have the courage to speak up, but seeing her bravery has given me strength." In the weeks following the incident, the pool became a symbol of change. People who had previously avoided it began visiting again, feeling reassured by the new measures in place. The atmosphere was noticeably different, more welcoming, more inclusive, and more reflective of the values the community aspired to uphold. Kayla and her father's actions had not only addressed an immediate injustice, but had also sparked a movement. Their story became a reminder that standing up for what is right can create ripples of change far beyond the moment. As Mr. Jordan said during the talk show, sometimes it takes one small act of courage to ignite something bigger. We're just glad we could be a part of that. The pool incident left a profound impact on Ms. Claire, Kayla's family, and the community. Ms. Claire faced public backlash but chose to confront her mistakes. She apologized in person to Kayla and Mr. Jordan, admitting her ignorance and pledging to change. "I cannot undo what I did, but I want to learn and do better," she said with sincerity. Mr. Jordan responded gracefully, encouraging her to turn her apology into meaningful action. Kayla, wise beyond her years, added, "See people for who they are, not what they look like." Moved, Ms. Claire promised to attend diversity workshops and work toward creating inclusive pool policies. The community rallied to address systemic issues. Town hall meetings were held, and new policies like mandatory bias training for staff were implemented. Kayla's family became advocates for inclusivity, attending events and speaking about their experiences. Kayla's inspiring words at schools encouraged young people to stand against injustice. Ms. Claire also shared her journey of self-reflection, showing that change is possible. Together, the community became more united, fostering compassion and understanding. Kayla's family established the Kayla Jordan Foundation to promote inclusivity and provide resources for underserved communities, turning a painful moment into a legacy of hope and change. The events at the pool became a powerful example of resilience and transformation. Kayla's courage, Mr. Jordan's composure, and Ms. Claire's eventual self-reflection inspired many. The community learned an important lesson about inclusion, empathy, and accountability. Kayla's story spread beyond the town, sparking conversations on social media, news platforms, and within communities worldwide. People discussed the importance of addressing biases and fostering understanding. Messages poured in for Kayla, calling her a beacon of hope and strength. The Kayla Jordan Foundation quickly gained attention. Its mission to promote inclusivity resonated with people everywhere. Scholarships were established for minority youth, and workshops on diversity became a central focus. Mr. Jordan said, "This is not just about what happened to us. It's about ensuring no one else faces the same." Ms. Claire, once the source of the conflict, turned her life around. She actively supported the foundation, attended events, and spoke about her journey. She urged others to confront their biases and take responsibility for change. Her transformation became a testament to the possibility of redemption. The incident became a reminder that every person has the power to create a better future. Communities must unite to stand against prejudice and injustice. Kayla's bravery, her father's wisdom, and Ms. Claire's growth taught the world that change starts with individuals choosing to do what is right. What would you do in a moment like this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you were inspired by Kayla's story, like, share, and subscribe for more uplifting stories. Together, we can build a better world.